Good morning, my friends. It is time for the Live, Build, Change Morning Mindset Edition, designed to help you get your mind right in the morning, first thing of the day. If you're listening to this not in the morning, that's totally fine. We can always use a reset any time of the day. But these are designed to help you start the day right, because what I've discovered is that if you start the day with a mindset full of truth and right thinking about yourself and God and other people and the world, you're able to live more consistently throughout the day in light of that truth. I wonder if you have ever heard the phrase, beat around the bush. When I was a kid, I remember my mom saying that phrase sometimes, and it's meant to communicate someone who's stalling on something, or someone who's putting off something they need to do or know they should do. And in our story today, we've been looking at the life of Moses, and we're in chapter 4. It's quite interesting. Moses is standing before a burning bush, the burning bush where God is there giving him instruction. And Moses continues to beat around the bush. I guess we could say he's beating around the burning bush, which is much worse because it's God himself telling him to do something. And Moses is stalling. He's stalling by doing all these things, asking all these questions, making all these excuses. And he tells God, well, the people aren't going to believe me when I go back and tell them that you've told me to come and liberate them. And so God gives him a sign. He tells him to throw down his staff, and it turns into a snake. And Moses was afraid. He ran away. And the Lord said, put out your hand and catch it by the tail, which anyone who knows anything about snakes knows you never do. But God, that's what God told him to do. And so he put out his hand and he caught it, and it became a staff again in his hand. So God's graciously, mercifully proving to Moses that he is with him, and he will enable him to do whatever he needs to do to obey. And he gives him another sign. He tells him to put his hand inside his cloak. And when he does and pulls it back out, it's leprous. It has a disease. And God says, put your hand back inside your cloak, and he does. And when he takes it out, it's restored, like the rest of his skin. And God says, if they won't believe you, you show them these signs, and they will believe at that point. And then Moses has another excuse, another stall tactic. He says, Lord, I'm not eloquent, either in the past or since you've spoken to me today. I'm slow of speech and tongue. So he's basically saying, I don't speak well. I'm not a good speaker. He's got these excuses, and maybe they're not full-on excuses. Maybe they are beliefs Moses had about himself, that he wasn't capable, he wasn't able to do the things God was calling him to do. And I know that feeling, don't you? I really do. I know the feeling of feeling inept or incapable of doing what it is I know I need to do. There's fear involved, but there's also insecurity and a lack of confidence. But what we can't lose sight of, either in our lives or in this story of Moses that is our illustration today, is that when God commands us to do something, he is in that command promising to give us the ability to do it. His commands are his enablings. We can't lose sight of that. Because when we look at our fear and our insecurity, and we look to those things as the reasons why we can or cannot do something, we are putting those things at a higher level of importance than God himself. We're saying our fears and our insecurities and our inabilities are stronger than the power of God, who is the one giving us the ability to do what it is we are to do. So today, please, my brother and sister, please don't do that. Don't live that way. Live in faith. Live in confidence that your God, the great I Am, is with you today. And your day will be different than you've ever experienced before.